you are?
Catriona Yule. Hello.
And we've been collaborating away. We weren't really quite sure what we were doing, to be honest, but we're pretty sure we weren't enemies. So we decided to call ourselves We Are Emails. And we emailed images backwards and forwards and wrote some stuff. And the first image was a notice that said, "This path is dangerous." And this is the poem. This path is dangerous. It is the sort of path I always went on when I was young enough for interesting scabs on my knees and sand in my jimmies. Once I climbed for a dare up a wall on a leftover bomb site, walked along the top giddy with height, fear and the excitement of intent. I paused, looked down into an office, saw a man at a desk and stared at him as an eagle might. He raised his head and his mouth opened, his hand shot up above his head. Get down, he shouted from his wide mouth, his open eyes. My feathers flew as if to bullets and I dropped to all fours, crawled the rest of the way, breathing close to the mortar, and tasted the crumblings of the broken wall. This notice reminds me, it looks stoned, but not in a good way. Within its battered triangle, it holds a picture of a black cliff from which rocks are falling. I set off anyway.
This path is dangerous. Man in cape, mobility scooter, fast lane on the A90. Asda before it shuts, Heinz baked beans, £2 scratch card and a 12-pack of Tunnocks caramel logs. Black mesh bag dangling from your waterproofs. A straight line all the way from Hadigan to Bridge of Dee. Or it would have been if you hadn't stopped, hadn't parked in the middle of rush hour traffic like an unexploded bomb, cars screeching round you. Or worse still, sagged in your seat, puffed out on 4 rusty cylinders. Gotham City awaits, but you're going to have to get there first. We were sending each other images, and I sent Maureen an image of a pocket watch, because I've always been a bit obsessed by clocks and watch mechanisms and things like that. I don't know why. So this is the poem that I wrote. Pocket watch. The little boy serves up food on a tray. A bunch of glistening cherries, a hunk of Gruyere cheese and some flatbread, water and Rioja for his grandfather. He studies the old man while he grafts, the specks of oil clinging to his fingers, the smear under his right cheekbone as he sups from his flask. He notes the precision of the man who has few wisps of hair curling round his ears, his bronzed, shiny head perspiring in the late afternoon heat. The boy passes him a rag over the bench, silenced by the concentration which fixes the old man's face in a grimace as he cajoles the small nut into place and lights up the dial.
Great, it's like an Italian painting, I think. Well, I got this image of the pocket watch and didn't really know very much about watches, so I looked them up and I discovered that in a watch or a clock or anything, when it's wound up, there's a coil and it can't be allowed just to go like that. So there's a device inside it which makes it run slowly, uncoils at a certain, and that's where you get the tick, tick, tick. And this device is called escapement, which is just an amazing word. So this poem is called Escapement. She wears a gold watch on her wrist all the time, takes it to bed with her and traces its face with her finger. Her thoughts hover. She falls asleep, listening, thinking the watch throbs like a bird's heart. Her mother says she can't abide a ticking clock. The living room clock has been banished to the cupboard under the stairs, where it tick-tocks the dustpan and brush, and the other things put away for the time being. Rewound, the clock regains the mantelpiece on Sundays, where in its mahogany pomp it rings the quarter hour. And visitors say, "Goodness, is that the time?" Or, "What happened to the cuckoo clock?" Her father says he has no time for a clock in the house. The town clock looms in at the bedroom window and strikes the hours morning, noon and night. He has to sleep with earplugs, for God's sake. But she sleeps sound with the little ticking watch. It's curled up smooth and warm in her hand now, while she dreams of its 17 jewels, the rubies and the sapphires, twinkling like stars. The next image I sent off. And it caused a slight bit of hiatus, but I'll just carry on with what I did on that particular image, and Catriona can explain what she did with it. This one is, the image was of a picture from those little alleyways in Barcelona where they put the names of where you're going on the street. It's called Tattoo Parlour. Well, here you are at a split-the-wind of alleyways in a barrio of Barcelona. It is the early evening, hot and darkening. The air sits heavily in layers, scented with food, perfume, sharp sweat, and a little something from the drains. You are unsettled and wonder why you have not seen before